You're listening to the Life Friendly Business Podcast. I'm your host, Erin Thomas Wong, business mentor, author, and founder of the Cocoon VIP membership, empowering women around the world to build businesses on their terms. If you want to grow and scale a business that works in harmony with your family and your life, this podcast is for you. Have you ever found yourself in a room full of people with someone speaking and you're desperate to put your hand up and share your opinion or your expertise, but you're so low in confidence that you just can't even imagine having the bravery to put that hand up? Have you found yourself having a one-to-one conversation with someone and they're talking about challenges that they're facing, and inside you're thinking, I can help you. I have the skills to help you. But at the same time, you've got the mindset gremlins going on thinking, who are you to help them? Like, they won't take you seriously. There's someone else that can help them much more than you can. And so all those feelings stop you from letting them know that you can help. If this is you, I've recorded this episode with the purpose of asking you to start speaking up. If you've got a product or service that can help someone, you need to let people know. All you're doing is offering them the opportunity for you to help them. So all these feelings about feeling like we're not good enough to be speaking out about what we can do, that other people can do it better, that we don't want to be salesy, all those things are stopping us from simply letting people know that we have something that might help them. And you're certainly not alone with these feelings which prevent you from really putting yourself out there. But I have no doubt that it is holding you back from your true potential. So with my own story, back one of my very first businesses was co-hosting Ealing Mums in Business. So Ealing Mums in Business, where we did night markets, we organised night markets, and we also did some local business meetups every month where we'd have a speaker coming along. And my business partner, Shelley, was so much more confident with public speaking than I was. Her background was training, and she was just able to just flow in what she said, and she could think off the top of her head. And if people asked questions, she'd just easily be able to answer them. And I used to stand there just thinking, like, if I was to stand up there and try and do that, I'd go bright red in the face. I wouldn't know what to say. I'd lose my train of thought. If someone asked me a question, it would completely throw me. And so for years and years, I hid behind her. And it wasn't really until I launched Making Mumpreneurs, now Life Friendly Business, which was over 6 years ago now, that I launched it alone. And I realized that if I wanted to build this business, I'm going to have to speak up. Because let me tell you, if you want to build a community, if you want to have a relationship with your audience, as a small business owner, you are your USP, and they need to get to know you, and you need to be genuine and open with them in order to build that relationship. I don't think it's possible to build a community with like a faceless corporate feeling. I think somewhere along the line, we need human interaction, and we need human people to have that relationship building with. So if you want to do that for your business, then you need to get used to speaking up, no matter how terrifying that is. And there's lots of ways that you can, take it slowly and build up your confidence. And, for me, actually, with the public speaking, not only was it that realization that I needed to start doing it when I set up Making Mumpreneurs on my own, but then as I was growing and I was getting out there and I was becoming more visible, I was asked to do a webinar for someone else's audience. And this was a really big deal, because it's one thing like me speaking to my own audience who I'd started to feel really comfortable with, but speaking to someone else's audience is like a whole nother level. And I was feeling quite panicky about it. And that was my first experience of having a healing session. I met someone through networking who said that she was able to help me. And, she really did unblock a lot of the barriers that were in my head about putting myself out there and feeling vulnerable, putting my knowledge out there and worrying about people saying, like, that's rubbish. Why is she saying that? Because we all had these gremlins that go on. And, and now obviously I've been through that myself. And with time, I've got more and more confident with doing things. But let's be clear here that, even when I host my Momentum Day events, which is to my audience, obviously we have new people coming every time, which is wonderful. I still get nervous. I'm still nervous. I still want everything to be right. I still, think about it at night when I'm going to sleep and sometimes have dreams about things going wrong. Like, that's absolutely normal, but we need to push through that in order to get ourselves out there and get our message across. And obviously now that I've been through that experience, I'm able to help other women. And, in the Cocoon, we've got a whole series on public speaking, for example. But not only that, we also look at the imposter syndrome and the inner critic, which is preventing us from putting our message out there. And I think, it's really important that we don't get sidetracked by looking around at other people in our industry and what they're doing. Now, I'm going to pause there and say, yes, we need to be aware of what our competitors are doing, but not to the point where it becomes toxic for us. And, I'm speaking from experience here. Like, I found myself, and especially if you're feeling particularly vulnerable, if you're, maybe you've got stuff going on at home, like, this is the thing, like, with business, I always take a holistic approach because it's how stuff's going on in our life that's affecting how we're feeling about our businesses as well. But if you're having a bit of a hard time and you start looking on social media and everyone else seems to be doing it better than you, everyone else seems to be getting more sales than you, and, it really, really damages your self-esteem and therefore prevents you from putting your message out there, which therefore prevents you from getting sales, which therefore backs up the idea that you're no good at this. So we've got to break that cycle. And I think that, one thing that I talk a lot about in terms of having a life-friendly business is about doing things to our own measures of success. So it's, really easy to look at someone else doing something. We don't really know what it's like backstage for them. We're only seeing the front stage on social media. But the point is that their measures of success might be completely different to ours. So like I've talked about, obviously, yes, finance does come into it. We need to be making money in our businesses. Otherwise, it's not a business. We need to make money in order to, pay our mortgage, pay our bills, have nice holidays, look after the kids, all those different things. But also, my measures of success are around the flexibility that I have with my schedule, the flexibility that I have working around my own energy, the fact that I can take school holidays off and not have calls during that time and feel completely not guilty about that. These are all my measures of success, the impact that I'm having on other people's lives in a positive way. That's how I measure my success. So when we find ourselves getting caught into this toxic world of comparisonitis with other people, we really have to pull ourselves back. And, just adding on to that as well, thinking about the internal validation. When I'm talking about all these reasons that might be stopping you from putting your message out there and speaking up, most of the time it is actually us that's stopping ourselves from doing it. And it's our imagination of what people are thinking about us, i.e. our inner critic. And we can be a lot harder on ourselves than actually anyone would ever be. And that is holding us back. So if you can work on recognizing your own self-worth, then that's going to really calm your inner critic down. And if you can recognize that you are doing your best, you are doing things with the best intentions. Yes, we will make mistakes. We all make mistakes. It's human nature, but you meant to do the right thing. You approached it with the right mindset and a good heart. And sometimes things go wrong and we've got to forgive ourselves for that. And we've also got to recognize all the things that we're great at. So instead of focusing on the stuff that we can't do or we can't do yet, or we're not as good as them, let's focus on the stuff that we are really good at and think about the message that we need to get out there to people. Because what I want you to think about is, I'm assuming that you have got a product or service that you feel passionate about, or you're thinking about starting something that you feel passionate about. And most likely, with most things, that's around helping other people. It's around making their life easier. It's around getting them from A to B faster. what would happen if you didn't get that out to the world? Like, think about the people that wouldn't benefit if you don't put that thing, if you don't tell them that it exists, if you don't offer them the opportunity for you to help them. What does that mean for them? It will mean that it takes them a lot longer to get from A to B. It might mean that they really struggle with a problem that they're having for much, much longer until they find someone else to help. Like, it's all negative, to be honest. If you don't put your message out there, it's all negative. And most of all, it will be negative for you, because you will be going on for years and years knowing that inside you are worth so much more and you are capable of so much more, but that you've been holding yourself back. So next time you have the opportunity to speak up and tell people what you do and how you can help them, I want you to remember that it's much more damaging for you not to say anything than to say something even though it feels scary. So put your message out there. Tell people that you can help. If you're having a conversation with someone and it sounds like you could be the solution to their problem, be brave and tell them, I think I can help you with that, and tell them why you can help them. Give them examples of why you can help them. But be brave and do it. Put your hand up in that room and share your knowledge and expertise. This is something that I talk about on the Evolve Mastermind, that, you know, what you have to say is of value and can be so helpful for someone else to hear. And that's what's really nice in a small group situation as well. Everyone's seeing people build up the confidence to start expressing themselves and offering help to people. And it's so fulfilling. Like, one of our human needs is contribution. We want to be able to help people. We want to be able to give. And you have that inside of you. And all that's stopping you is the mindset gremlins. So please go ahead, speak up, and let me know how it goes. It's an easy trap to fall into. You get busy and squeeze in extra working hours. You flex the hours you're available to be accommodating to others. You take on work you'd rather not because you feel like you need the money. Over time, you find yourself running a business that doesn't work for you or your family, and maybe isn't paying you the money you'd like either. But the truth is, it's never too late. You have the power to design your very own life-friendly business. You just need to carve out a little time to decide what that looks like for you. I've created the 7 steps to a more life-friendly business checklist to help you do just that. Download for free at lifefriendlybusiness.com/7-steps.